Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, where Sonic and Sega All-Stars go racing. Okay, that wasn't that funny. This game came seemingly out of nowhere considering that the first game was overshadowed by the sequel Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform. But growing up, I remember seeing this game's intro and I was like,
oh look, it's Castlevania playing, that's so cool! Wait, what? Who are these people? What? Oh my god, Sonic and the Clown! Oh my god.
yeah, that was basically my reaction when I first saw it, but that was when I was like 8 years old. But now, since I'm older, and to celebrate the release of Team Sonic Racing coming out this year, let's take a dive into Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and see what it has in store for us, and if it's as good as I remember it, or it's terrible. Back in 2008, Sega released a game called Sega Superstars Tennis, which was made by a company called Sumo Digital, who are actually working on Team Sonic Racing. Sega Superstars is an okay game. It's like 10 years old now, but not a lot of people know about it. Or at least I think. I remember when I was cleaning my room one day and I just found the game and I was like, holy shit, do people still remember this game? After working on that game, Sega asked Sumo if they could work on another Sega theme game. They decided to make it a racing game because they also worked on this game called Outrun, which is also released by Sega. You got your Sega Superstars like Sonic, Red Sonic, Black Sonic. You got your Sega Superstars like Sonic from You Know What, Ai from Super Monkey Ball, Beat from Jet Set Radio, and Ooh La La from Space Channel 5, and boy, she thick! And other Sega characters. When you first enter this game, you have to enter your name, country, and portrait. However, since I'm playing on the Wii, the portrait you have to choose are from your Wii Miis. But on other consoles, you can choose like characters from the Sega game. Ah yes, the story of your mom, Gay. He was born in 1920 when Canada was being invaded by the Spanish army. Your mom, Gay, was an orphan for 5 years of his life. At age 6, he was adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Lakema, who raised your mom, Gay, to be a toe-sucking master. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Let me stop. Once you enter the following that I just mentioned, the game will ask you if you want to do a test drive with Sonic and get used to the controls. Pfft, what do I look like, a loser? I don't need filthy controls. Say no to that shit. Let's just get straight to the race. In the main menu, you can choose single player, which contains Grand Prix, single race, missions and time trials, split screen where you can play with up to 4 people, options for options, license to check your player data, achievements, and collections. Sonic, species Hedgehog. First appearance, Sonic the Hedgehog in 19... Hold on a second! Sonic's first appearance was not Sonic 1. It was in a game called Rad Mobile. Who gave these guys false information? Now, since I have no friends, let's start off with a single race by myself. At the start of the game, you start with 8 characters. 9 if you're playing on the Wii, and 10 if you're playing on Xbox 360. Wait, 10? Who the f*** is Banjo-Kazooie? Now, I understand it's Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, but why start off with so many Sonic characters? That's 5 out of 9 in the default roster. In Sega Superstars Tennis, you start off with 3 out of 8. Now it's 5 out of 8 to 10? Now, as a Sonic fan, I'm not complaining, but as a Sega fan, it feels kinda unfair. But hey, I'm sure we can unlock more as we go, right? Now, let's get to racing. Let's start off with the one, the only, Billy Hatchet.
Billy!
Now in this game we start off with 8 stages as the number of default racers, with total number of characters being 20. Now to unlock more you have to purchase them in the Sega shop. They came up with this guy called Alex Kidd, but Sega didn't think he would compete with Nintendo's Mario yada yada. It's him! Now this is just like any other kart racer released at this time. You got your wacky stages, the Mario Kart-like items, multiple playable characters, but what sets them apart from other games like Mario Kart is the handling of the vehicle and the driving mechanics. Now, if you haven't noticed already, these characters have specific vehicles per character, not allowing you to mix and match it, which isn't so bad at first. Until you realize that Shadow's the best character in the game.
Can you see all of me? Walk into my business.
Also, there's a unique item in this game called All-Star Move, which every character has an item only that character can use to get back into the race. It's a really nice touch to show the character's capabilities. For example, Shadow has Super Shadow like I showed earlier, Billy Hatcher runs on top of a giant egg, Eggman turns his egg monster into an Eggmobile and starts shooting missiles, and Amy has a Pico Pico hammer. All of these are really nice touches and I love watching them, they're all really fun to use. Especially Knuckles.
We got an all-star loose! Time to get defensive, drivers! Punch! Knuckles hit a Echidna shockwave tearing up the track!
Now the gameplay runs pretty smoothly on any version of the game, even on the Wii, even though the Wii seems to be running on 30 frames per second, but it barely drops frames, which is a really nice touch. Now if you're playing anything else that's not a Nintendo console, you'll go from this.
Welcome folks to Casino Park, where it's a safe bet we're in for one heck of a race. Don't stop on the roulette wheel. Remember, the house always wins.
To this.
Welcome folks to Casino Park, where it's a safe bet we're in for one heck of a race. Get your game face ready. You're gonna need it here.
But graphics aside, all these games run pretty smoothly, and it's a really fun game to play. Now the racetracks you go through are revamped racetrack versions of levels from Sega games, like for example Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, Blizzard Castle from Billy Hatcher, Tokyo Toe from Jet Set Radio, and Curiant Mansion from Curiant Mansion. Now the places like I mentioned take place in the same area but have 3 different racetracks that are very different from one another. For example, if you're in Tokyo Toe, there are 3 racetracks: Shibuya Downtown, Rokaku Hill, and Highway Zero. All of them take place in Tokyo Toe, and it's a really cool idea. It makes the levels really stand out from one another. Now you can't have stages without mentioning music, am I right? Unfortunately, there are no original tracks used in the racetracks, unlike in the menus, but they did select a good number of stages from the series that the stages are based on. Also, can we talk about the announcer for a second? I mean, just listen to this, he's fucking brilliant.
I'll tell ya, just when I think I've seen it all, you get a race like that! The stuff of legends! Now that's old school racing right there, folks! Hope you enjoyed the race, folks. I sure did. Tune in again now. One lap in the bank. Let's deposit the next. What a show of speed and skill. Can't wait to do it all again. Until then, take care. Once more with feeling, fellas. We're into the final lap. Eggman and his mustache move up to first place. Bullseye, minus the bull, of course. He's cracked it! Billy takes first place!
Now, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing is a pretty solid game. I know there will never be any kart racer better than Mario Kart in terms of quality and review scores, but Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing is a really close second in my opinion, and the sequel just improves on the driving mechanics and replay value. There is stuff I haven't mentioned, like being able to play online and showing off the missions, but it's not stuff that deserves to be talked about in this review in my opinion. It's just more content for the player. Now, if you have friends over and you have this game in your possession, I highly recommend playing it with friends and family. Because to be honest, any game with multiplayer, whether it be online or local, is so much more enjoyable with friends. And in conclusion, I give Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing an 8 out of 10.
Temptation to chase, but who knows where it goes? I don't have the choice, the race begins. Leaving behind a life that